Hello, everyone. Welcome to the C Files. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe and share this video. Hit that bell notification. I will never advertise on my videos. I'm not interested in the money. Now, if I say something that is incorrect, I want to correct it. This is why I rarely, if ever, do anything on the news, although I will mention current events and my biblical studies. Um, it's because sometimes it's hard to get it right because there's so much information that comes out, and you try to verify it the best you can, but sometimes you miss a detail or two. One of the details I missed in the Aurora, Colorado video that I did just a couple hours ago is I misunderstood what was going on with the mayor of Aurora. Even though Colorado is a sanctuary state and the governor there he wants to coddle the immigrants that are coming in, the illegal immigrants, many of whom are dangerous gang members, as Trump has often said in his rallies, but not all. We don't want to target all immigrants. We don't want to start attacking innocent people who are immigrants in this country. My wife is an immigrant from the Philippines, so I would never advocate that. But I just saw an interview on a local news channel of the mayor, and the mayor admitted that there was a problem with three apartment complexes, out of his own words. He said it's an isolated problem, but it is a problem. Apparently, Aurora, Colorado, from what the mayor said from his own mouth, is about 400,000 people, so it's a good size area. It's a decent sized city. And he said that his local police department is working with federal agencies and state agencies to try and resolve the problem. Okay. So at least he's admitting that there's an issue. Now, I tend to believe the people who have been directly, these gnats, sorry. Are you guys getting those little gnats all over the place? Anyway, it's a bad year for the bugs. All right. Sorry for that. Taking that rabbit trail there. Anyway, it so he is trying to do something apparently, but I believe the citizens that are affected by these things, directly affected, before I believe elected officials. Bottom line, elected officials, there's so many twists and turns in what they say and what they do. Of course, he wants to say. They asked him if Aurora was a safe city, and he said, "Oh yes, it's a safe city." Of course, he's going to say that. He's the mayor. Why would he not say that? Is the mayor going to say, "Oh, it's a dangerous city, don't come here"? No, of course not. Every mayor in the country is going to say their city is safe. The mayor of Chicago is going to say his city is safe, right? So, but the point is that he's, it, he, according to his interview, according to his own words, he is trying to work on the problem. He does recognize the problem. And he did blame the open border on the problem. He also stated that. So I wanted to put that out. I said that these people don't attack military bases or police stations, at least not in this country. There was a shooting on a military base in Texas a number of years ago. It was a soldier that, I remember he was an officer, a psychiatrist, or psychologist, if I recall. I can't remember his name. And I can't even remember which base it was on. But I remember it being in the news, that shooting that occurred in Texas on that base. Well, he was a fellow soldier who had access to an armory. Okay. When I'm talking about bases, I'm talking about trying to get through a gate on a base where you have armed military police there to stop you and check your ID. If something were to happen, if a shooting were to go down, there would be an immediate response, and they would be stopped. The same with what happened in Texas. There was an immediate response. Look, I went through a lot of active shooter drills. I never actually went on an actual active shooter, but I can't tell you how many times as a law enforcement officer I drilled for an active shooter situation. And I can tell you, law enforcement cannot respond fast enough to prevent the loss of life. It's just humanly impossible for that to happen. But law enforcement will respond as fast as humanly possible to stop the loss of life in an active shooter situation. And I can tell you that is the case. At least it was the case when I was in law enforcement. Anyway, so those are a couple things I wanted to correct. Yeah, that was it. Now, I know there's a lot of discussion. I didn't expect that video to become so popular. It's probably one of my more popular videos. But, the whole point of the video was just be aware. Be aware of your surroundings. Be on alert. Not panic alert. Not to the point where you're not able to function day to day. Just a more heightened awareness of what's going on around you. That's very important. I mean, it should be important anyway. If you're in a grocery store or someplace like that, and you should always be listening for a disruption. If you can't see it, try to hear it. And if there's a disruption, if it sounds like gunshots or something like that, you should have a plan in your mind where your escape route is. How are you going to mitigate that situation? Now, if you're of the sheepdog mentality and you decide you want to go after the person that's trying to kill people, of course, you better have in your mind a tactical approach to that situation. If you try to stop the shooting and you're killed in the process, you've done no one any good. Also, if you decide to go after a shooter and law enforcement comes in and they think that you're the shooter, or they think there's two shooters and they take out you and the shooter, those are things you have to think about when it comes to tactics. But anyway, just some things to think about. I'm just more concerned about you and your family being safe. The other thing was there was a few comments about thou shalt not kill. Yeah, that's one of the commandments. And that does not, however, when you continue to read in Deuteronomy and places like that, the concept of self-defense. Self-defense, if your life is in immediate danger or someone else's life is in immediate danger and you kill the other person, or you shoot to eliminate the threat, to save that other person's life, the innocent person's life, that is not considered murder. That is, even in God's eyes, that's not murder. That is protecting innocent life. That is self-defense. So from a biblical standpoint, self-defense is allowed. It is legal in God's eyes. It's also legal, at least to this point, in the government's eyes. But there's all kinds of, if you're going to shoot, if you're going to bring your weapon out and shoot, there's all kinds of legal things you're going to have to consider. You're going to have to make sure before you pull that trigger, everything is on the up and up, everything is done right. Otherwise, there could be consequences. So, a lot to think about. And this is what law enforcement officers go through when they're dealing with a decision like that. There's 100 things going through their mind before they pull a trigger to take a life. And no well, I never met a law enforcement officer that I worked with that ever wanted to take a life, but they were willing to do so to save a life. So that's how that works. Anyway, so that's some of the corrections that I needed to make. Um, and just stay safe out there, folks. I think that this situation hopefully will be resolved, but it's not just Colorado. These violent gangs are coming in here, and they are trying to establish themselves in the United States. And Venezuela was a wonderful country a number of years ago. They were really an economic powerhouse just a few years back. But it's this corruption of drug trafficking and all of that, and these criminal enterprises, and of course the communists going in there and using their Tavistock propaganda techniques to infiltrate churches, infiltrate government, and then eventually put the country under a communist economic system, which has really ruined the country. And so when that kind of dire poverty hits a country like that, it's human nature, because we do have a sinful nature. It's human nature for people to do what they have to do to survive. And if that means being a part of the gang culture, then that's what it means. If you look at the inner city and how young people are jumped into gangs, if you will, it has a lot to do with that desire for that immediate gratification of receiving cash and money, getting that car, getting those fancy rims. It's a buy off. It's also a generational issue. Inner city gangs, Bloods, Crips, in the areas that I was working in law enforcement, you had LV13, you had Shelltown, you had Barrio Logan. I can name them. There's a list of them. But typically, if you were dealing with, that 16, 17-year-old, even the 18-year-old, his dad was a gang member, his granddad was a gang member. I've met many OGs, old gang members, some that came to Christ, one that became a friend of mine, and actually was working to protect me on a beat that I was on at one point, because I treated people with respect. Even people that you would think was the worst scum on the earth, I still, when I was making the arrest, I tried to treat them with respect. Because we're made in the image of God. Human beings are made in the image of God. Because of that, I'm always trying to be respectful toward people. I don't always condone what they do, but I also recognize that they're a sinner just like I'm a sinner, and they need Christ just like I needed Christ, and that's where it is. So anyway, that's getting off into more of my normal content. All right, folks, I just want to make those corrections, and my apologies to the mayor of Aurora if I misrepresented you. But I still think a lot of Congress is involved in criminal activity, insider trading and all of that kind of stuff. There's a lot of, how much has been coming out on a lot of this stuff. And I don't trust the governor of Colorado. So anyway, and it's just this idea of wanting to cuddle these guys. They come in here. Why would you want to have I'm Nats. Why would you want to have a sanctuary state for people who are coming into your state to harass and rob and do home invasions on your citizens? Maybe that's a question somebody needs to ask the governor of Colorado. At any rate, I'm hoping things go well. I don't want to see a bloodbath, but if it happens, I'll be talking about it here on YouTube. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time on C Files.